name is Confidence AJ, the co-founder of Nexus Professional and the co-founder of Nexpro TV. Nexpro TV is a TV channel designed to bring on board trainers, learners, entrepreneurs, certified coaches, mentors around the world. Today, we are here to discuss on the topic, how to build a generational unicorn. With me are certified coaches and mentors being the panelists for today. I'll start by introducing Alisa White, who is a dynamic, trailblazing founder, president, and CEO of Fulfillment Empowerment Network. Alisa is a transformational leadership and master mindset coach, an international speaker, and a trainer, a certified member of John C. Maxwell certified team. In addition, Alisa is a certified ambassador of Peace for Humanity. Due to her quest for peace around the world, she has been awarded the Ambassador for Peace. Now, she has also been awarded with the Global Women of Choice Award for peak performance in business and leadership in April 2021. Alisa is passionate about compassion, servant leadership, and helping individuals living authentically in their purpose. Here I introduce to you Alisa White. Now, the second on my list is E.K. Rocklin. E.K. Rocklin is a graduate of University of Professional Studies, Accra, as well as a Transformation Academy. That's a certified professional master mindset life coach. Over the years, he has been practicing as an accountant from one company to another. He trains a lot of individuals in businesses as well as entrepreneurship. He is passionate about the life purpose and how to help individuals to be able to achieve their life purpose. Here I introduce to you E.K. Rocklin. Last but not the least is Deb Hart, the co-founder and CEO of Core Training. Deb Hart is an international speaker, a leadership consultant, trainer, and a coach. With 15 years of experience in consulting, designing, developing, and facilitating relational leadership programs, mentoring programs for students, staffs, and administrative teams in middle schools, high schools, and colleges. A Core Training is a partner in athletic leadership in several state interscholastic athletic programs across the world. Deb Hart resides in Nashua, USA, married to Dana for 27 years. She has 2 boys who are actually graduating from college in South Carolina, USA, and she is also a fitness trainer. My people, help me welcome our panelists for today. Thank you, my panelists. With much more I do, I'll call on Alisa to give us. A lot of people have been talking about wealth in businesses. They always say that in order to get a greater wealth, then you must create a business that will sustain itself for the future. So with this, Alisa, what can you tell me now about the purpose of wealth in business?
Thank you for that question, Confidence. And again, thank you all for being here and being on this conversation with all of us. So, a lot of times when we talk about wealth building, we only associate wealth with money. Now, I am not intending to downplay the value of money. As I always say, money is a vehicle, and money can literally buy everything except for happiness, peace, and fulfillment, right? But through money, like I said, it's a vehicle. So when we look at wealth, we want to shift from only thinking about money. Wealth for me is a way of measuring and obtaining security for our children, our grandchildren, and future generations to have access to things like education, housing, financial security. You see, this type of security that we're talking about when we build wealth, it also helps us to enhance our life experiences that we can all enjoy together as a family, which in turns help us build stronger relationships. So it's very important that if we want to create wealth, for us to think of not only for today, but to think about the future and think about generations to come. Confidence, also, one of the things I talk about when we think about building a business or building even generational wealth is that we must build personal wealth. And personal wealth, if you and I are brothers and sisters, and I have developed a personal wealth building mindset, and you have done the same, then together we come together and we will now build generational wealth. And then we have something to leave for generations to come. So the person who's building a generational unicorn, they're not short sighted. They're not short sighted. This person is building brick by brick, bit by bit. And so, as we get into our conversation today, coming from me, I want to talk about what does a wealth building mindset look like?
Wow, that's great. So in simple, in order to create a wealth, then you must be able to create a generational business that will lead to what a personal wealth as well as leading to what a mighty wealth. That's great. Now, Ike Rocklin, in creating wealth, there are so many elements in that. One of these is business relationship. Now, can you tell me what business relationship is and what it really does in businesses?
Yeah, thank you, Confidence. Now, before I talk about business relationship, first of all, let me bring your mind to a type of relationship that we have all practiced all these years. That's I want to talk about a personal relationship. We have all related with families and friends. Through this, we have created bonds and we have interacted. That is a form of relationship. If we come to the business world, we are talking about the relationship that exists between business entities that engage in commerce. I say commerce, buying and selling, or any form of business. Yeah, and this concept is very key to the today's businessman or the business person, because over the years, most business people have paid much attention to creating a unique and unforgettable product, and then the ability also focus on their ability to deliver amazing customer service. But the truth is that in the today's 21st century, to be very in business and for your business to be what sustainable, you need to invest time into business relationship, because the first two that was looked at in latter years or during the classical section is not the only two elements that foster or gives success to a business. Now, we all say that, or so many schools of thought or business experts do say that customers are the bloodline of any business. Now, in order for you to what attract or retain existing or new customers, you have to also pay much attention to creating yes, and so all other business entities that one way or the other affect your business. So in this case, I'm saying that there's a need for every business person of today to donate or denote a lot of what? Resources. Just like you invest in your businesses, resources and cash in businesses, you must also invest the same in building strong and lasting relationship. Now, the question is, why is this so important? Why is it so important? Because it is the customers that you intend keeping or reaching out to that are going to keep your business running. Because nobody produces to sell to no one, and nobody will want to go into that type of business. Now, one experience I have shared recently is a few days before Father's Day, I walk into a business or a gift shop to check a few stuffs. Then one woman just walked in and she said, "Oh, this cap has been branded, you are the funniest dad of all time. This cannot sell in Ghana. I dare not buy this cap for my husband." Why is he saying that? Because he thinks that in the African setting, it's not very funny, or it's not very friendly or complimentary to tell your father or husband that you are the funniest dad. So that is what, because the business as the gift shop has a cordial relationship or has built a relationship with this woman for some time, she is free to what? Tell the owner of the business that this inscription on your cap may not help you. So the best thing is like, you are the greatest dad or best dad or special dad. That is good to sell in Africa or in Ghana, and for that matter. What I'm trying to say is that if you maintain a good relationship with your customers and other entities that you relate with in business, they are likely or more likely to what? Give you ideas that you can actually put into the production and delivery of your goods and services. And that is good for business. Thank you.
Great. Wow. That's an in-depth knowledge in business relationship. Now there, we just talk about business relationship. But another element for which I know is intentional relationship. In view of that, Deb, can you tell me what is the most effective way to establish an intentional relationship in building the generational unicorn?
Yes, and thank you for asking that question, and thank you for sharing, Rockland, because building intentional relationships, one thing that I'm very passionate about and that I speak a lot on is relational leadership that goes along with being intentional to support those customers that Rockland just talked about, is to those customers keeping them long term. And so we've got to be intentional in order to do that. And that falls under, as you're building your business, that relational leadership, because I believe that relationships are the focal point of the leadership process. If you think about it, people will tend to go along with and stay with those customers, but people will go along with people that they get along with. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be everybody's best friend. You don't have to follow everybody on social media. You don't have to check in with everybody every single day. But a lot of times we don't slow down to think about how we come across. So if we could be mindful about being intentional, because the reality is that other people perceive you a certain way, and their perception is their reality. Your customers their perception is their reality based on where they're coming from and how we come across. And so sometimes we don't think about the tone of our voice, you know, that inflection of our voice, or our body language and the expressions that we use. And when you continue to put yourself out there, people pay attention to that. They're going to draw off of and feed off of your intentionality. I remember when I first met Alyssa, I mean, her and I, because one of the things, if we're going to be intentional, we've got to slow down, right? We've got to think about how we come across. And the other thing is being interested, not interesting. So that it's not about you, but it's about other people. And when I first, as I was saying, when I first met Alyssa, her and I, man, we were just meant to be. So there was that instant connection for us because we're both very intentional about building meaningful relationships, and your authenticity is always going to come out. So that's going to be people's perceptions. And so her and I were just a natural fit, coming from totally two different worlds. And it's just so cool how we are both intentional about what we do, and both of our foundations, and I just talk about Alyssa because I know her a little bit more, but both of our foundations are about intentionality and about, as her company is, fulfillment and fulfilling people. So building relationships, as you're doing that, the other big thing is to ask questions. And a lot of times people don't think to ask questions when realistically, what are people's most favorite subject to talk about? Themselves. So when you're dealing with your customers, when you're dealing with other professionals, when you're dealing with other businesses, remember to ask questions, to slow down and try to stay away from those yes and no questions, but ask questions about what's important to them. And all of a sudden, you're going to be an amazing person because you're asking questions about them and what is important to them. And then you're able to add value to them for what's important to them, not ourselves, which supports be interested, not interesting. So thank you for asking that, because again, relational leadership, as you're building your businesses, as you're being intentional about your entrepreneurial mindset, you're putting yourself in a leadership position. And so that foundation is going to be important, that we are mindful of those relationships, because it's always going to involve people, right? I mean, as you're building businesses, it's going to involve people. So thank you for asking that.
Wow, that's a great one. I'm learning something. Viewers, I think you are also learning something, because within this few discussion from Alyssa through to E.K. Rocklin to Deb, I think I'm learning, because I've just learned about the creation of wealth, or the importance of wealth in businesses, as well as business relationship. Not only the business relationship, but we have intentional relationship as well. And through intentional relationship, then you must have what? Relational leadership. So the questioning mind, if you are always having the questioning mind, if you are always having the mindset towards something, or you have the appropriate means of doing something, then it means you are building an intentional relationship. Wow, that's great. That's great. So moving on, it's getting interesting, and I think even if we are giving all the time, we will not finish. But the little that we have, we will learn. I hope my viewers are also learning much more. And any question that you have as viewers, please, you can put it in the comment box. And at the due time, your questions will be answered as the process goes on. So now, E.K. Rocklin, now we just talk about business relationship as well as intentional relationship. Now, can you tell me the types of business relationship that are worth keeping in business, because we have a lot of business relationships, but we want the ones that are worth keeping in businesses.
Okay, thank you, Confidence. Now, as a business person, there are many areas that you have to look at, because, for instance, once you want to build a brand or you want to build a product, then you have to be thinking of what? The brand loyalty to your brand. And then you also know that you will be having legal issues to deal with as a business person. You know you will be having finance issues. And then you know you have competitors too in the market. And you know that you have employees, you have to work with people. So if you have all this at the back of your mind, then you know what type of relationship you want to create and keep. So for instance, if we talk about a brand loyalty, then you are thinking of your customers. Your customers are, like I said, you already know who they are to your business. And so you want to what? Build a relationship with them that will lead to what? Brand loyalty. When customers are loyal to your brand, it means that they will choose all your products over similar products in the market. And then also, what that also means is that with a good customer loyalty, you don't also have to spend too much money advertising to such people to come and patronize your business or patronize your services. And that is what? The first line of people you want to build a relationship with because of brand loyalty. And we are saying that once you establish a very cordial relationship with your customers, you won't have to what? Spend too much on advertising to such people before they even buy your products. And those people will go a long way referring your products to their colleagues, their family, and other businesses around you. Now, once you are able to establish a good relationship between you and your customers, then the next line of people you want to check out is your employees. Because like it is said, you, the business owner, know or have the vision. You know where your business you want your business to be in the next future. But the truth is, it is your employees that are actually going to take you there. So if you treat your employees well, then they will also take good care of your customers. And that's a good thing. Mahatma Gandhi once said, I talk to the gate man the same way I talk to what? The headmaster or the principal of any university or institution. That is a way to say that we must respect our employees, whether they are the cleaners or the general manager. Now, once you are able to establish this relationship, then you can also look further. Another group of people you want to establish a good relationship with is those in the finance markets. The finance experts, a good accountant, and a lender. Because of time, I won't go too deep into that. But on our next meeting, which I know very much will happen, we will talk about that. And then for you to see reasons why you will need to keep a good relationship with a finance expert, a good accountant, or a lender. When I talk about a lender, I'm talking about maybe those credit unions, like savings and loans, banks, and individuals who actually grant loans. Now, the list go on and on. But let me talk about the other two. You also want to keep a good relationship with what? Legal people, those who are in the legal field. Because as a business owner, there will always be issues of what? There will always be issues of tax. There will always be issues of, we say, defaultment of payment that might lead to suing and all that. You might want to expand and go into other areas. You need a legal expert to actually advise you about the business laws in that jurisdiction. Then you can also think about your competitors. It may sound funny, but you want to give much attention into creating good relationship with your competitors. A good example is our farmers, the society, cooperative society farmers. You know, one would have said that I produce tomato, you produce tomato, so you are my competitor and we shouldn't be fine. But you know, when these people come together, there are certain farming equipment that one of them cannot easily hire or purchase. What they do is they come together, pull together, and they buy these machines which come and work on their fields. So the list go on and on. These are some of the people or the business relationship that, as today's businessman, you would want to give attention to. Thank you, Confidence.
Wow. That's another insightful submission by E.K. Rockley. As you must know, E.K. Rockley is a co-founder of Nexpro TV as well as Nexus Professional. Now, viewers, for you to know, this program is being sponsored by Fulfillment Empowerment Network, Core Trainings, as well as Nexus Professional. As you all know, we are still on the Business Support and Entrepreneurship Show, discussing the topic, how to build generational unicorn. Okay, I think Alisa have been waiting to tell us more, because listening to Deb as well as E.K. Rockley on the issue of relationship or intentional relationship as well as business relationship. Now, all these are indicators of what? Creating sustainable businesses. Alisa, can you now tell me how wealth are created using those factors?
So that's a great question. And I definitely agree with my teammates on the importance of developing the right relationship with the right people with intention in order to build a business, or even as you might be a solopreneur, building that relationship is very important. So, but one of the first relationships, this is why I take it back to that wealth building mindset that I spoke about earlier. As we look at what wealth creation is, it can be explained as a voluntary exchange between people who benefit from things that are produced. The exchange can happen through bartering or the use of money in some sort of exchange. They both increase wealth, but the use of money drastically increases the number of wealth creating transactions that can happen in any type of business. So let's take a little bit, as we said, when we think about wealth, we have to first have a wealth building and wealth creating mindset. Even though it's one of the most important things I would say you need to initiate, that relationship that you have with yourself from your mind, it is not sufficient on its own. So let's take that into consideration. However, a wealth building mindset will create the potential to change your financial life in the hugest way possible. Your mindset is the starting point. So I want to challenge us as we even discuss and think about the relationships we will create externally, to think about the relationship you have with yourself as it relates to wealth, not just money. As you all know, my teammates know, we have shared in a workshop from a program I created called A New Money Mindset. And so that focuses on wealth building as well. But most people have a mindset for short-term enjoyment. They spend money to make themselves feel better in the moment, a little bit of disregard for long-term. But when we're thinking wealth, as I said earlier, we must think about the long-term ramifications. How many times have you been excited about the purchase for something that turned out to be less exciting when you got it weeks later? So if you want to create a mindset that is a wealth building mindset, you have to enhance your mindset and your financial situations by using a certain set of techniques. Confidence. If you allow me, I'm going to give us 7 quick techniques that can help us with building that wealth building mindset. Number 1, take spending seriously. A wealth mindset requires taking your money and your spending very seriously. Each dollar you spend has the potential to decrease your wealth or to take you further into your wealth creation. So let's look at this example. If you wanted to buy a boat, it's about $50,000, right? It's not just the purchase of the boat. You have to think about gas, insurance, maintenance. A lot of us go out and we purchase things like buying a Toyota versus buying a BMW. The incurrence of cost to maintain those vehicles are very different. There's also the opportunity of cost. You'd have to be investing time to maintain this vehicle. So, in something, when we're talking about wealth, that's something we would actually need not to just randomly invest our money. You also lose time as you spend enjoying and dealing with the boats, right? So, you have to think, am I in a position to be boat sailing every Sunday if I'm thinking about creating wealth? The time that you spend boating could be spending creating even more opportunities for you to build wealth that you would enjoy in the long term. So you money is worth more than what the money is. Only you can decide what's right for your long term. So wealth building people are considerate about spending money. Number two, focus on creating value. In our John Maxwell team, we talk about adding value to people's lives. And that is one of the most brilliant concepts and one of the most rewarding set of activities that I've ever become involved in. So when we're thinking about building wealth, how can I add value is the question you'd ask yourself. A job can be lucrative, but it can take years to reach the point in your career where you're making a very large salary. The wealthiest people created the most value and then they figured out how to charge people for it. Here's where I'll stick my one favorite word, purpose. When you understand your why and you know exactly what you're here to do, then you get busy creating opportunities, wealth building opportunities that you can then charge people for it. Then building wealth becomes very simple because you're a natural at it. You're driven by it. You're passionate about it. So consider how you can contribute the greatest amount of value to the world and get paid for it. Simple, just like the rest of us here. Number three, spend your time wisely. One of the greatest powers is your ability to choose how to spend your time. Here's the thing, the person who becomes wealthy is not in the 99%. The wealthiest are in the 1%. And so it's a type of person that comes into wealth and then creates generational wealth. They're not ordinary people. Those are the people who spend extra time at night. They get up earlier to exercise. They're disciplined in all areas of their life. They're certainly kind. They have a good character and reputation in the community already. They're very dedicated. From childhood, they were focused. Let me use the example of my 7-year-old nephew. This young man told us very long time ago he was going to go to Hollywood. Well, we thought it was cute and funny until he decided at about age 5 he was going to be a producer. And he's also going to do cinematography and cartoon creation. Let me tell you, this 7-year-old, since he said that, he has been putting in the hours, drawing and creating everything to get to that point. No one taught him that. But I'm telling you, there's a certain amount of time that you must spend building your craft. And so if he at 7 has already put in about a full solid year's work, every chance he gets, we have to remind him to go do his homework and he will get it done quickly so he can get back to drawing. So his time, let me tell you, when he's watching cartoons, he is redrawing the characters and adding additional characters and creating a story. So this young man, my 7-year-old nephew Levi, is spending his time very wisely. What can we say about us? Are we spending our time wisely? Number 4, you need to learn about wealth creation. You should be researching and understanding wealth. Let me tell you, I was raised in a third world country, and getting enough to get by that meant you were rich. If you had food on the table and bills were paid, you're doing well. But as a person who wants to create generation wealth, that cannot be enough. So you must spend time learning about wealth. Number 5, think big. It's important to have big goals, ideas, and plans. Conservative goals are for average people. Wealth and average, they just don't go together. Imagine that you could make a steady progress for 25 years. Where would you end up in 25 years? Now, take that same plan you have for 25 years and try to accomplish it in 5. And that's when you're really thinking big. Let's look at number 6. Consider how your behaviors, thinking, and decisions relate to wealth goals. If you have wealth goals, you're not going to be out at the malls every weekend. you're going to consider investing your money into a book that teaches you about money, that teaches you about investment, that teaches you about setting up your home and your environment for success of whatever it is that you're passionate about. So before you do anything, consider how it will impact the achievement of your goals. Each dollar you spend, like I said earlier, will take you further away from or closer to your goals. In a nutshell, ask yourself this question. This is one of my favorites. If you're taking notes, write it down. Is what I'm about to do, is it making me more likely or less likely to achieve my goals? And that goes for our relationships, like my dear friends are saying. The person you date and the people you spend your time with is going to be as a result of how far you go. Here's my last tip: hang around wealthy people. You become more like the people you hang out with. Wealthy people have a different way of viewing the world, and I've learned that recently. And they make decisions very differently from the way we do. While we might think, average people might think, oh, should I really invest my money? But we will quickly buy a new Michael Kors purse at the mall. Wealthy people are like, I'm going over here, I'm going to invest the money, and I'll take the risk. Different mindset. You can gain a lot from hanging around with wealthy people on a regular basis. I tell individuals, spend a few dollars and go invest on hanging out at the country club where the wealthy is. Even if you could afford it for just a one time or a 1 month piece, watch how your own mindset will change. Confidence. Here's the thing: when your mindset changes, the way you view the world changes too. And remember, like I said, you have to become a member of the 1% club. That means you just can't be fitting in every old way. In everything you do, you have to bring a certain level of dedication and transformation in your mindset and in your actions to generate this type of wealth we're talking about today. So there you have it, folks. 7 tips I give you in building generational wealth.
And I want to
Wow.
kind of may I chime in a little bit there, Confidence?
Well, okay. There. I know you were itching over there. Continue.
And I love your passion about it, Alyssa, because a couple of things I took some notes too, and a couple of things that you talked about. First, of course, the first one that rings true to me when you were talking about the very first one was that wealth building and the mindset of not thinking about the boat and you purchase the boat. I mean, we're fortunate that we own a boat. We love boating. That's one of our family passions. But a lot of people don't think about it. They just go buy this boat. They don't even know how to drive it. They get out on the lake, and then the next thing you know, they're selling it. And people like us who know, we go ahead and we buy it for a really good price because you didn't plan that. You didn't think you thought it was like a car, you could drive it, or that, oh yeah, by the way, you might need a slip to put it in or a trailer to tow it and the money that goes with that, and where are you going to go? And then it's seasonal, right? I mean, we live in the New England area, and so we have 4 seasons. We don't boat every season because of the weather. So there's a lot of that mindset that goes with that. And that also reminded me the discipline of that also when you were talking about your lifestyle. It's that same mindset when you purchase the food that you eat, or the liquids that go into your body, and we're like, oh, energy drink, $5, and you're super high 1 second, and then all of a sudden you crash, as well as investing in good food is usually going to be a little more expensive, but it's going to give you the energy that you're going to need in order to maintain the lifestyle that you want to maintain as you continue to keep having birthdays. So, and then the other thing, I just wanted to make a point that all of this stuff that you share, it's so challenging because we live in a society that does not teach us how to practice delayed gratification. Everything is instant. Everything is like, I want it now, and TV does that to us. Advertising does that. Reality TV makes us think that that's reality when it's really not. So it's really not. So that delayed gratification, everything is so instant. Everybody gets a trophy instead of working towards getting, and I'm not hating on that, but it's really being disciplined in the decisions that you make, and all of that decision making of everything that you're talking about, that whole wealth is your lifestyle, and money is a part of it, but that's that whole picture that you just painted. And I love that. So thank you. Thank you for letting me chime in on that one.
That's brilliant, Deb. You said it. It's that delayed gratification that brings the wealth. And again, like I said, money on its own and having, that's why I wanted to point that out. Because in my course, A New Money Mindset, I teach a lot about money and money blocks. That's a whole not a demon. I guess that's going to be
course
showed.
You all need to be part of, by the way.
Exactly. You want to do that course. I mean, I got the little journal because it is a process of building a new mindset. But the whole crew is, we don't think holistically about wealth. And I like that you brought in the health and wellness piece, because it's a whole, that's what I said. You're going to have to become a whole different person a lot of times from what you might have brought up. You might stand out as a unicorn. And I meant no pun, as a unicorn among friends, among family, in every decision you make. They're like, okay, let's go to the beach. And you're like, yeah, but I committed to take this class about investing. So you might be able to go to the beach for 2 hours, but you're coming back to take the class on investing and Bitcoins and all these wonderful things that are out there that are money-making vehicles. It's that delayed gratification. Those choices, it's literally everyday choices and remaking yourself. And so let me tell you, like Deb said, it is not the easiest thing. Even I've been on the journey of creating a new money mindset, of creating a lifestyle that is wealth building. Like I have a commitment of a certain amount of money. I'll tell you what, I've had in my household, I've had over 6-figure income, and I've had $20,000 income. And I like the 6-figure income a whole lot better. But what I found, because of where my mindset was at the time of each event, having $100,000 in the bank didn't really make me happier. And it did not create more opportunities for me because I didn't have a wealth mindset. I was not disciplined. So watch what happened. God allowed me to end up in the $20,000 bracket. And boy, I never want to go back there. That's when things started to change for me, because I developed disciplines and I start to research and I start to be focused on my purpose and be busy doing that no matter what, no matter who I work for, I'm working for me as well. And so that's a whole nutshell that we can't do in one show. But Deb has something to say.
Wow, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I think the viewers are also enjoying, as earlier said, any question or any comment, you can put it on the comment box. And also, if you want to actually enjoy this with us each time, just subscribe to NestPro TV on YouTube as well as Facebook, and join us this Sunday and every 2 other Sundays. So we have this twice in a month. So every 2 Sunday we have, that's the 2nd and the 4th Sunday in every month, we have this program known as Business Support and Entrepreneurship Show on NestPro TV. Thank you very much. My panelists for today have been great. Oh, Alisa is just giving up there. Ike Rockley is staying in his corner. When he blows, nobody seems to stop him. Deb is there. Whenever somebody says something, Deb will be itching on her seat. But don't worry. I think much time have been spent, and I know viewers will wish that we should continue with this one. But don't worry, the program continues every other 2 Sundays. That's the 2nd and 4th Sunday in the month. So make time with NestPro TV on YouTube as well as Facebook, and you will enjoy the amazing discussion. Hey, these are just few people. When we bring others on board, like Dr. Wahid, who is a humanitarian, my brother. Hey, my people, you run away. That man is just, he defined the meaning of what? Humanitarian. When we talk about humanitarian, somebody who lived it. He's the one. Don't worry, you'll be on our show and stay tuned. Alisa, oh, you've been great. Always when we call upon you, you deliver. I don't know whether you are a book loan. Have you been born with book or oh, you are too learning now? And always, I thank God that I meet people like you. I've learned a lot, and I told a lot of people that people will be wondering why I'm taking a female as my mentor and my role model. For the first time, don't worry, because the person have exhibited every characteristic that I've been looking out for. Now, my brother, my friend, have been 10 years partner, E.K. Rocklin. You've been wonderful. Thank you. Don't worry, I'm going to give opportunity to each panelist to give a remark. In their remark, they can give us a simple words out there that our viewers will carry along and be using it as their walking stick. Deb, you've been so great. The only woman that can have time for her family is not easy. You'll be great. You'll be training a lot. Thank you very much. God bless you. So with this remark, I'm going to call on E.K. Rocklin to give us a simple 3 words that our viewers will take home.
Before I bring the curtain on my submission to an end, I would like to touch on a few things. I made mention earlier that even though many business owners are well endowed in producing or creating unique products and also delivering amazing services, most of these experts or business persons do not actually have it as what it takes to build a good business relationship. But the good thing is it can be learned, just like any skill. Creating and maintaining relationships can be learned. So this is what we are going to do. Once you are able to establish the relationships that you think are vital for the success of your business, then you don't have to stop there. What must you do to manage it or to keep it running? The first thing that I want to say is for you to learn how to diversify your network of friendship. For instance, if you are a business student, then it's likely that most of your peers or your friends in the university are going to be those rendering your course or also reading your course. So at the end of the day, your network is going to go in that direction, which means that most of your friends are going to be in the business field. But it shouldn't be so. We must learn to diversify our business or our network. If we do that, we are able to have at least every profession or every sector or every discipline on our network. So here we are talking about your lawyer friends, your finance experts, your mention, it goes on and on, you know. So you are able to diversify your business network. Then you also have to know that you must give as much as you expect from that relationship. I have a personal experience. I was just a boy and my mother used to sell corn, or let's call it maize, in the market. So this woman have customers that she has customers that she buys from. But the maize has a season. There are seasons that the maize is in abundance in the market, and actually the suppliers are price takers because the buyer has to tell you how much you want to buy it. And there are also times that the maize is so scarce that you as a buyer have to take any price that the producer or the supplier is giving it to you. Now the question is, how do you make sure that you are during the scarcity of corn? So this is what my mother does. When the maize is overflowing in the market and farmers or suppliers are crying. They need to sell and they don't have anybody to buy. She remains loyal to her customers. So even buy from them. And this is how it pays back. During the scarcity of maize, the supplier, during the scarcity of maize, in that season where maize becomes so scarce, the suppliers also remember that, look, when it was so cheap and abundance, this woman buys from us. So now that it's very scarce, we must also make sure that no matter which price a buyer offers us, we make sure we sell to this woman. So it's like both of them have given exactly or even more than what they are expecting from that business relationship. That is all I'm trying to explain here. Now, once you are able to also do that, you must also learn to spend quality time with your key relationships. There are some of the relationships that are not worth keeping, non-performance. At time, the value of some of the relationship diminishes. You must learn to prune them. Those that you think are still profitable and valuable to your organization, you must learn to spend time and build them. You must also pay attention to what social and your business landscape. You must know which business is moving and who to side with. Sometimes you will see that you are in a certain line of business and you have been there for a while. Then all of a sudden, new entrants or new people are trooping into the same line of business. That's the local and the landscape I'm talking about. So as someone who already have control or a good market share and the resources for that matter, are you willing to still compete with these small industries? No, one thing you can do is find a way to make those small businesses actually buy from you and sell to the market. So if you were solely a retail outlet, then you must begin to think of going into wholesale because you have the resources to actually buy and sell to these small business. So in the end, even though they are also offering the same values you are offering or products you are offering, they end up buying from you. So in one way or the other, you are still in charge of the entire market, or the you still share the major, you still have the major share of the market in this sense. So this and many other things you can put in place to manage the relationships that you have built. The last one I want to talk about is about your social issues. You must learn to actually apply your resources and your expertise into solving social problems. That way, you build a very good relationship with people in your locality or in your business's catchment area. That way, you will get more people to patronize, and then the brand loyalty or the loyalty of your product or brand will be assured. So that's the little I want to add to my previous submission. Thank you, Confidence.
Thank you, Rocklin, for that submission. That's a well endowed and more insight submission that you've made. Deb, kindly give us your closing remark for the day.
Yes, I can, and I'll try to keep it short and brief. So thank you, first of all, for having us. And I wanted to remind or go back to something that Rocklin said, and he talked about loyalty versus patronizing as he's building these business relationships. And I'd like to remind all of you, again, as we're building relationships, when we're building relationships with our families and our friends, as well as our business partners and then your future business partners. A lot of times, he talked a lot when he shared the story about his mom, and a lot of that goes into building trust. And so that question always comes up when we're working with people at Core Trainings is, but how do you build trust? Because you can't just say, trust me, I got you, because then it's in question, right? We're always going to have some armor on. We're going to have a little callous about that. And so I want to remind you that as you're building this, there are actually 3 things that come to mind in every human being's mind when you're talking about building trust and building those relationships, right? Building those intentional relationships. So 3 things that are always going to come to our mind. And I'm sure you'll be like, oh my gosh, yes, I think of that too when I'm looking to be led by somebody, to be in partnership with somebody. And that first thing, that first question that we're going to ask, because we are humanly wired and relationally wired, is, does that person even like me? Like, I don't need to be your best friend, but do you like me is something that's going to go through my mind. And then of course, the second question is, and do you care? Do you care enough? Again, I don't need to be your best friend, but do you like me, or do you care? And then with that being said, that third question that's going to go through our mind is, and can I trust you? Can I trust you? And so how do you build that trust? And that's where we must be willing to be a little vulnerable, right? We must be a person of our word, because we all know talk's cheap, and we all have met somebody who it's all about them. It's all about their resume. It's all about them getting the credit. So that's not going to build trust for you. But if you're willing to be a person of your word, start paying attention to that follow through, paying attention to that mindset that Alyssa talked about earlier. And then it goes right back to, by building trust, you actually slow down and you're intentional and you listen. Because listening does show that you care. Listening opens the door, and you ask those questions. By asking those questions, you don't need to know everything. Be willing to say, you know what, I don't know, but let me get back to you on that. And that's going to also gain credibility, because nobody wants to be around a know-it-all who thinks they know everything. So that's what I would like to add. And I just want to say it has been a pleasure being here with you all. So much to learn. And I know all of us have a lot more ideas and concepts and messages that we all want to be able to share with you. So I'm pretty sure your tank should be full at this point, probably overflowing. So thank you for having me. Much appreciation. And I took a ton of notes myself in reference to all the valuable information. And thank you all for adding value to me today as well.
Thank you, Deb. Wow, that's a great remark. Alisa, are you there? Can you give us your closing remark as we wrap up for today's show?
Oh my gosh, that was so powerful from Deb. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. This has just been an awesome conversation. I just want to thank you all for joining us in this conversation. Like Deb said, I know your cup run it over, and believe it, we've got a lot more. We've got some incredible guests that are coming on the show, and we'll all be taking turns hosting. But for now, my word is start now, start today. That's what I'm going to leave you with. Whatever it is that you desire, however you desire to be and show up in the world, it's now that you get started. Don't make excuses anymore. You're not going to build wealth by waiting for perfection and for the right moment, but start today, start now. And if you need more help with that, reach out to us. Make your comments in the bottom. We will be answering your questions. You will get live recording videos for most of your questions from us. If it's something really simple, we'll be right here in the chat with you. So keep them coming. You can also email us to get your question answered. And we are here to serve you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for listening and joining. And back over to our great host for today, Confidence.
Thank you. Wow, that's great. On behalf of Nest Pro TV crew, I want to thank each and every one of you for your wonderful time, for your wonderful discussions and wonderful knowledge that you've imparted on us. I know my viewers are glad to have you on board at any day, at any point in time. The interesting thing is that all the panelists for today are actually co-founder of Nest Pro TV. and they decided to take out for the first mantle being the business support and entrepreneurship show, the first ever show in Ghana as well as USA. Now we continue with this and every other 2 Sundays. So we have it twice in a month, 2nd and 4th Sunday in the month at 3:00 p.m. GMT, Ghanaian time, as well as 11:00 a.m. CST. Good. So now make the point to join us this and every other 2 Sunday. As said, your comments should be in the comment box there, and all questions will be answered live, and you will see your recordings that you need. Like any question that anything that is bothering you, you can link up with us on info@alisawhite.com, or you can subscribe to our channel and give us messages through the messenger. Our YouTube channel is there, Nest Pro TV. It's been wonderful day. Alisa, I don't know how I'll thank you. Deb, I don't know how I'll thank you. EK Rockley, you'll be wonderful. And I hope to see you and any other speakers that will be coming. Until then, Nest Pro TV, you shout and respond, building the generational unicorns. So I'm going to say Nest Pro TV, building the generational unicorn. Until then, my name is Confidence AJ. I'm happy to be your host for today. I'm the co-founder of Nest Pro TV as well as Nexus Professional. Until then, bye-bye.